Welcome back to another special edition of Tornado Watch. This year, the NCAA is celebrating the 50th anniversary of Division II athletics, and over the next few months, we'll be catching up with several former Tornado who racked up accomplishments since King transitioned to Division II. Today, we're joined by Elizabeth Swallow, a former member of King's women's golf team. Elizabeth, thank you for taking some time to chat with us.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, before we look back at some of your many accomplishments, why don't you fill us in on what you're up to these days?
Absolutely. Yeah. So currently I'm a student success and career readiness coach. I work at the University of the South over at Sewanee, Tennessee. So not too far away. Middle Tennessee is as far as I got since leaving King. And before that, I was in graduate school up in Indianapolis. So yeah, it's actually really rewarding. Back working with undergrad students, thinking about their futures, thinking about their careers, thinking how they're doing in college. So it's been a real joy to sort of be a part of lots of student stories going forward. So that's currently what I'm up to right now. So
Well, let's take a look at your story a little bit. You're originally from England, so take me back to your decision to attend King in the first place, to play golf. What made King the right fit for you, and how did you come to that decision?
yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I was looking around to come out and play college golf, and I had a few different offers on the table and sort of thinking about what I wanted to do. And I actually had some really good conversations with coach, but I also remember there was a Spanish player at the time who just sort of said like, "We look forward to seeing you," and it like really made me feel welcome at the time when I was thinking about becoming part of a team and part of a campus institution. So I thought, yeah, there was potential in the golf team, definitely for sure. And I knew I could play, and that was important to me to sort of get lots of time and practice. And I thought, academically, it would be a good fit. It would sort of stretch me and push me in certain directions, and it certainly did. And it gave me all those opportunities when I turned up on campus. So I'm very grateful that that's the place I ended up and landed. And yeah, I do reflect fondly about my time, definitely at King. So
Well, in 2014, you became the first Tornado in program history to qualify for an NCAA regional. So, what do you remember from that experience in Dade City, Florida?
yeah, so me and Coach traveled down, Coach Cam. We went down to Florida and went down that way, and it was a lovely golf course. It was a great experience. I think there was about four independent golfers who hadn't necessarily qualified independent of their teams, and so we got paired up to play, and we got to experience the course. There was lots of water on the course. It was a tough course. It was playing fair, but like you had to hit it long. And I think going into that period of time, I played well pretty much all year, and I was also struggling. I think I remember sort of expecting me to struggle more in sort of like my long game. I was really not hitting the ball very well going into that tournament. And I was kind of like figuring out some putting things, and I was feeling fairly confident. And it was just funny. I always sort of remember that it was completely reversed. I hit the ball so well when I was down there at regionals, and I couldn't buy a putt. And so I think I came away sort of with a mixed feeling, like proud that I managed to get there, was also simultaneously disappointed that I wasn't able to go further. I felt like I definitely had the potential to. But it was just such a fantastic experience, and I knew the player I was playing with all the days, and we had a good conversation during the course, and it was just a fantastic experience to be a part of, for sure. So those are some of my memories. I had this lovely, you know, power fade going around the course, and it was some of the best golf I've definitely played, like on the tee box to the green. But yeah, like my time on the green was definitely one I want to forget. So and I was thinking about that the other day. There were some great opportunities I didn't quite manage to take up at the time. So yeah, it was that season was definitely a special season for me.
Well, in 4 seasons at King, you were named all conference all 4 years, twice to the first team, twice to the second team. You won a conference championship in 2014. You were Conference Carolinas Player of the Year. The list goes on. So, which of those accomplishments means the most to you today?
Oh, oh, that's hard. I think To be honest, just thinking about like, I think probably one of the first times was getting in on the all conference first teams. I think, you know, when you think about you're playing in a region and you manage to sort of be on that team of maybe 5, right? To say that you're one of the best 5 players in your sort of like region. And I did that, I think, early on in my King career, and I was very proud of that, I think, when I think back to it. Of course, yeah, again, a conference win was huge. I think I was close maybe another time, but yeah, sort of in and around that, it was a great experience to be sort of able to sort of put performances. I think maybe because we're playing so many tournaments, the conference, even though it's big, it just felt like another tournament in a sense. But like being able to say that like you were on the team of recognized players who had played well for a whole season felt meaningful to me. I think sort of consistency was a good part of that.
Well, off the course, you were honored with several other awards and nominations, including the Female Scholar Athlete of the Year at King, Conference Carolina Scholar Athlete of the Year, Academic All-District on 2 occasions, and you were a nominee for the NCAA Woman of the Year award. Looking back on your career with all the athletic and academic success, do you ever wonder how you kind of pulled all that off at one time?
Yeah, like you are going down that list, and I haven't thought about this for, you know, I just haven't thought about it really too much, and since leaving, and at the time maybe they all came to it sort of like independently, so sort of you just took them in your stride, you're like, okay, yeah, sure, like and maybe I didn't quite recognize that maybe in my actual like student days of there was, yeah, quite a long list of recognition and sort of I guess, you know, lucky enough to like perform at that sort of high standard both in the classroom and you know, on the course. And so yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling. Kind of forgot the question, but yeah, maybe I still look back and like I maybe would still do some things differently. I still reflect on my time of like it was very successful, and I also think maybe as I've gone slightly wiser, I probably, yeah, missed out on a few things I would have liked to have taken advantage of, especially when I was pushing hard in the classroom. So I think there was like a balance there, what I probably learned from later on in life. That it was very, yeah, it was very demanding, both on the schedule, being on the road all the time. And I think I see that with my students who I work with now as like our student athletes on the road, traveling. And so I can definitely relate to that experience, what I think is valuable, and having to get caught up in the classroom and missing, you know, missing time and missing content. It is a really challenging place to be. And I think it prepares you well for like life beyond, and thinking about the skills you have to develop when coming to like meeting deadlines and managing your time. And I think you learn a lot during your time as a college student athlete, and I certainly did. I'm still learning. Like I'm still making lots of mistakes and still learning along the way.
Well, in your current career as a student success specialist, I think you've got plenty of experience you can pass along to your students. It sounds like in your career at King, you accumulated 26 career top 10 finishes, 18 top 5 finishes, 5 wins, a low round of 71. Career stroke average was at 77. Just want to give you one last chance to talk about your time here at King and what it meant to you.
Yeah, it meant an awful lot. I think both on and off the course, I built some lasting relationships for sure. I still keep in touch with folks, and I think that means a lot. You know, a really good friend is, you know, was on the team, and I still keep in touch, and we do things together. Like even, you know, now many years after graduating, and I think that speaks to a lot of some of the friendships I managed to form, and just the support and the mentorship from coach, my golf coach BK, and like even people, right, like in other offices on campus. I remember Finley Green being a massive support, some of my professors too. And it's just like that whole community made that sort of journey possible. Like I definitely didn't do it alone. I had a lot of people behind me. And so that means an awful lot to me. Like realizing that they cared. They deeply cared about how I was as a student, and still do. And I do see that I keep in touch with certain professors too. And it's really wonderful. And I think yeah, I look back and it's just amazing that I managed to get this experience, right? Like that's what I intended to do when I first came out to the US, is to get this this college experience, and I certainly got it. And I was lucky to reap so many rewards from all of that. When you go down the list, and it's just such a unique experience to go travel and to see different places, to interact with like a whole bunch of players and students. It was just a real gift, for sure. That's my experience. So I look back to my King years very fondly, very, very fondly. And I do get into the East Tennessee area occasionally. I come into the Bristol neck of the woods, and I love driving past campus. It brings me back, and it definitely feels like a home. And I think that speaks a lot to my time with, my fellow classmates, my fellow students going through that experience. So it was a really, rich, lucky. I was very fortunate in all of that, to have the sport.
Well, we really appreciate you for, again, taking the time. Elizabeth Swallow, we thank you for joining us on this special edition of Tornado Watch as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Division II by catching up with notable Tornado athletes from a King's Division II era. For Elizabeth, I'm Chris. We thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next time.